Hello, everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today, we're cracking open Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one.
Yeah, this book has become a bit of a phenomenon,
For good reason.
and for good reason. It's all about understanding how those tiny everyday actions can really snowball into impressive results.
Well, that's the dream, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Small changes, big results.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll be digging into why those small changes matter so much,
Okay.
and more importantly, how you can use them to actually build those habits you've been aiming for.
I love that.
Correct.
Practical application.
Yeah,
That's what we need.
exactly.
What's fascinating about Atomic Habits is that it doesn't just tell you what to do.
Right.
It delves into the why behind habit formation.
Oh, interesting.
It's almost like a psychology lesson disguised as a self-help book.
Okay, let's unpack that. I'm all about practical tips,
Sure.
but I also love understanding the science behind things.
Yeah.
So what does Atomic Habits say about why those tiny changes are so powerful?
Well, one of the core concepts is this idea that tiny changes compound over time.
Oh.
Think of it like investing.
Right.
Even small, consistent contributions can grow into a substantial sum thanks to the magic of compounding.
The magic of compounding. I like that.
Clear actually uses a powerful anecdote from his own life
Okay.
to illustrate this.
Mm.
He suffered a pretty serious injury in high school,
Oh, wow.
and it looked like his athletic career was over.
Right.
But instead of giving up,
Yeah.
he focused on making tiny improvements every single day.
Every single day. And guess
Right.
what? He ended up becoming an academic All-American in college.
Wow.
Yeah, it's proof that those small wins, even when they seem insignificant,
Right.
can really add up.
That's a pretty compelling example.
Yeah.
It's easy to get discouraged when you don't see immediate results.
Right.
But this reminds us that consistency, even in small doses, is key.
Totally.
So how can our listeners start putting this atomic approach into practice?
So Clear breaks down habit formation into 4 simple steps.
Okay, I'm right. Cue, craving,
Mm,
response, and reward.
okay.
You can think of it like a feedback loop that's constantly running in the background of our lives.
A feedback loop, huh?
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. Walk me through it.
Let's imagine you're trying to build a habit of going for a walk every morning.
Okay.
The cue could be as simple as setting your alarm for a specific time.
Right.
That alarm triggers the craving,
Right.
which in this case might be the desire to feel energized and get some fresh air.
Yeah, get that blood pumping.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The response is the action itself,
Okay.
putting on your shoes and heading out the door.
Mm,
And finally, the reward is that feeling of accomplishment and the boost of energy you get from the walk.
oh, I like that.
That positive reward reinforces the habit, making it more likely you'll repeat the cycle tomorrow.
So it's not just about willpower. It's about understanding how this cue craving response reward loop works.
Yes,
And using it to your advantage.
you got it.
That's really interesting.
And each step in this loop is an opportunity to tweak and optimize the process.
Oh, interesting.
For instance, let's say you've been struggling to stick to a workout routine.
Okay.
Maybe the cue of setting your alarm isn't strong enough.
Right.
Instead, try placing your workout clothes right next to your bed,
Ooh.
making them the first thing you see when you wake up.
Yeah.
That's a much more powerful visual cue that can trigger the whole loop.
I love that it's like hacking your own brain to make good habits more automatic.
Yeah, exactly.
But what about breaking bad habits?
Ooh, good question.
Does that same feedback loop apply?
Absolutely. Habits are essentially learned associations between cues and responses.
Okay.
So to break a bad habit, you can try disrupting that loop.
Oh, interesting.
One way is to make the reward less satisfying.
Okay.
Let's say you're trying to cut back on sugary drinks.
Mm-hmm.
You could try replacing that sugary soda
Yeah.
with a flavored sparkling water.
Okay.
It's still a bubbly beverage,
Right.
but without the sugar rush and subsequent crash.
You don't get that like energy spike and then the drop off.
Right.
Yeah.
So the reward becomes less appealing and the habit weakens.
It's all about finding those little tweaks that make a big difference over time.
Absolute.
I'm starting to see how these atomic changes can really add up.
It's powerful stuff.
But I have to ask, does Clear talk about the role of our environment in all of this?
He does.
I mean, we're not just robots responding to cues, right?
You're hitting on a crucial point.
Okay.
Clear dedicates a whole section of the book to the power of your environment.
Okay.
He even brings up Lewin's equation,
Okay.
which states that behavior is a function of both the person and their environment.
Interesting.
It's not just about willpower.
Right.
It's about setting yourself up for success by designing an environment that supports your goals.
So it's like instead of trying to swim upstream against a current of tanking snacks and distractions, we can actually change the flow of the river to make healthy choices the easier path.
Exactly.
I like that analogy.
Think about it. If you're constantly surrounded by junk food,
Yeah.
it's going to take a Herculean effort to resist those
Oh,
cravings.
yeah.
But if you swap out the junk food for healthy snacks and keep them within easy reach, you're making the healthy choice, the obvious one.
That makes so much sense. It's like that saying, out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
If those unhealthy temptations aren't staring you in the face, it's much easier to stick to your goals.
Totally.
Does Clear offer any other practical tips for optimizing your environment?
He does. He introduces this really clever concept called one space, one use.
Okay.
It's about dedicating specific areas in your home or workspace for different activities.
Oh, interesting.
So instead of working from the couch,
Right.
you create a designated workspace, maybe a desk in a quiet corner of your home.
Right.
And instead of eating in front of the TV, you sit down at the dining table.
So it's like giving your brain clear signals about what it's time to do.
Exactly.
If I'm at my desk, it's work time,
Uh,
but if I'm on the couch, it's relaxation time.
that's the idea.
I can see how that would help with focus and productivity.
Yeah, by separating the context of your various activities, you're essentially training your brain to associate certain locations with specific behaviors.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's like building mental boundaries that make it easier to slip into the desired mindset.
It sounds like we're starting to get into the nitty-gritty of habit formation, which I love.
Yeah.
But before we dive too deep into those specific strategies,
Sure.
there's one more big picture idea from Atomic Habits that I wanted to touch on.
Okay.
Identity-based habits. Can you explain what that means?
This is where Clear's approach gets really powerful.
Okay.
He argues that lasting change isn't just about achieving specific outcomes.
Right.
It's about shifting your identity.
Oh, interesting.
It's about aligning your actions with the person you want to become.
So instead of saying, I want to lose 10 pounds,
Right.
I'd say, I'm a healthy and active person.
Precisely. It's
Interest.
a subtle shift in language,
Right.
but it represents a profound shift in mindset. Instead of focusing on the outcome, you're focusing on embodying the qualities of the person who achieves that outcome.
So it's not just about checking off boxes. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally does those things, who embraces those habits as part of their identity. I'm really starting to see how powerful this concept could be.
It really can be transformative.
Yeah.
And Clear offers some great advice on how to put this into practice.
Okay.
He suggests focusing on your desired identity in every aspect of your life, from the way you talk to yourself to the choices you make throughout the day.
Okay.
It's about aligning your actions with your beliefs and reinforcing that desired identity through consistent behavior.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
It is good stuff. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting how we often approach habit change from a place of fixing something that's wrong with us.
Right.
But Atomic Habits encourages you to view it as a journey of self-discovery.
Oh, that's nice.
It's about understanding who you want to be and aligning your habits with that vision.
That's a really refreshing perspective.
Yeah.
So it's not about self-criticism, it's about self-creation.
Exactly.
I like that. But I imagine that even with the right mindset
Sure.
and a supportive environment, there are still going to be days when sticking to those new habits feels tough.
Yeah, for sure.
What does Clear say about overcoming those inevitable moments of resistance?
Well, he has a great strategy called the 2-minute rule,
Okay,
which is all about making new habits ridiculously easy to start.
I like that.
The idea is to break down a habit into its smallest possible version, something you can do in 2 minutes or less.
So instead of aiming to write a whole chapter of my book,
Right.
I might just commit to writing one sentence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or if you're trying to establish a meditation practice, you might just start by sitting quietly with your eyes closed for 2 minutes.
Right,
The point is to remove any barrier to entry to make it so easy that you can't say no.
right.
And here's the interesting part.
Yeah.
Once you've overcome that initial inertia,
Yeah,
you're much more likely to keep going.
it's like that feeling of, well, I'm already here. Might as well keep going.
Exactly.
It's a sneaky way to outsmart your own resistance.
I love it.
I love it too.
But what about those habits that require a bit more time and effort?
Yeah,
Does the 2-minute rule still apply?
it can.
Okay.
Let's say you want to start running regularly.
Right.
You wouldn't try to run a marathon on your first day.
No.
Instead, you might just focus on putting on your running shoes and walking to the end of the block.
Okay.
That simple action is still in line with your identity as a runner,
Right.
and it sets the stage for building momentum.
So it's about building those small wins into your day, even if they seem insignificant.
Totally.
It's about proving to yourself that you're the kind of person who follows through on their commitments.
I like that.
But let's be honest, even with the best strategies, there are going to be times when those good habits start to feel, well, a little boring.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And Clear doesn't shy away from that reality.
He acknowledges that maintaining motivation over the long haul is one of the biggest challenges of habit formation.
Right.
He even quotes an expert coach who said, "At some point, it comes down to who can handle the boredom of training every day doing the same lifts over and over and over."
Yeah. It makes you realize that consistency isn't always about feeling excited and motivated.
Yeah.
It's about showing up even when you don't feel like it.
Yeah,
It's about embracing the process even when it's not glamorous.
you got it.
And Clear offers some great advice for navigating those inevitable slumps.
Yeah,
He suggests viewing boredom as a sign that you're mastering the fundamentals.
I love that.
It's like learning a musical instrument. Those initial scales and exercises might feel tedious,
Right.
but they're building the foundation for virtuosity.
Exactly.
I love that
It's
analogy.
a good one.
It reframes boredom as a necessary part of the process, a sign that you're on the right track.
I like that.
But how do you keep pushing through those plateaus without losing steam?
Well, Clear emphasizes the importance of finding ways to make the process itself more enjoyable.
Oh, okay.
This could involve incorporating variety into your routine,
Right.
setting mini challenges to keep things interesting, or finding ways to track your progress and celebrate those small wins.
Okay.
And here's a key insight.
Okay.
He also stresses the importance of choosing habits that align with your natural abilities and interests.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah,
It's like if you hate running, you're probably not going to stick with it no matter how many mental tricks you try.
probably not.
But if you find an activity that you genuinely enjoy, something that feels almost effortless, then being in that habit becomes much easier.
Right.
It's less about forcing yourself and more about leaning into your natural inclinations.
Absolutely.
Precisely. It's about finding that sweet spot where your passions and your goals intersect. That's where the magic happens.
I love that.
So we've talked about optimizing our environment, making habits easy to start,
Yeah.
and even finding ways to embrace the boredom. But what about the role of technology in all of this? It seems like our devices can be both a blessing and a curse when it comes to habit building.
Absolutely.
You've hit on a key tension that Clear explores in the book.
Oh,
He acknowledges the addictive nature of many technologies,
oh yeah.
how those notifications and endless feeds can easily hijack our attention and derail our best intentions.
Right.
But he also points out that technology can be a powerful tool for building good habits and breaking bad ones.
I like that.
It's all about using it consciously and strategically.
It is.
So it's not about demonizing technology. It's about becoming more mindful of how we use it.
Right.
Do you have any examples of how we can leverage technology to our advantage?
Absolutely.
Okay.
One of the simplest ways is to use technology to automate good habits.
Okay.
This could involve setting up automatic bill payments to avoid late fees,
Okay.
using a meal planning app to streamline your grocery shopping.
Oh, yeah, I love those.
Yeah. Or scheduling recurring reminders to take breaks and move your body throughout the day.
It's like having a digital assistant to nudge you in the right direction. I love that idea.
It's a good one.
Are there any other ways technology can support habit formation?
Another powerful strategy is to use technology to track your progress and make those small wins more visible.
Oh, yeah.
There are tons of habit tracking apps out there,
I use one.
right?
I love it.
That allow you to monitor your streaks, visualize your progress, and even earn rewards for consistency.
There's something so satisfying about seeing those little check marks add up on a habit tracker.
I know.
It's like a visual reminder of your commitment and your progress. It can be really motivating.
Yeah,
But what about breaking bad habits? Can technology help with that too?
definitely.
Okay.
There are apps that can help you block distracting websites,
Okay.
limit your screen time on certain apps,
Right.
or even provide accountability by connecting you with a support group or a coach.
It's like having a built-in support system right in your pocket. I'm starting to see how technology can be a powerful ally in this journey of habit change. It's all about using it intentionally to support our goals.
Exactly.
And I think that's a key takeaway from Atomic Habits.
Yeah.
It's not about relying solely on willpower or motivation. It's about understanding the science of habit formation and using all the tools at our disposal, including technology, to create systems and environments that make success more attainable.
I like that.
It's like we're assembling a team of allies to help us reach our full potential.
Yeah. It takes a village.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. I'm feeling inspired to start putting some of these atomic strategies into practice. But before we wrap up this deep dive into atomic habits,
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear your final thoughts on the book.
Sure.
What message or idea really resonated with you?
You know what really struck me about Atomic Habits is that it emphasizes a sense of agency.
Okay.
It reminds us that we're not just passive bystanders in our own lives.
Right.
We have the power to shape our habits and ultimately our destinies.
That's so empowering. It's easy to feel like we're at the mercy of our habits,
Yeah.
but this reminds us that we're actually the architects of our own lives.
Absolutely.
But I have to admit, even with all these great strategies, the idea of breaking bad habits can still feel daunting.
Sure.
It's like, how do you actually undo those deeply ingrained patterns?
Cleary offers a really practical framework for breaking bad habits.
Okay,
He calls it the inversion of the 4 laws of behavior change.
interesting.
Essentially, it's about flipping those laws on their head to make bad habits less appealing.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Break it down for me. How do you invert those laws?
Remember, the first law is about making the cue obvious.
Mm,
To break a bad habit, you want to do the opposite.
Quick.
Make the cue invisible.
okay.
Let's say you're trying to cut back on mindless snacking while watching TV.
Okay, classic.
You could try removing all the snacks from your living room so you're not tempted every time you sit down to watch a show.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
I can see how that would make a big difference.
Yeah.
What about the second law, craving?
Instead of making the craving attractive, you want to make it unattractive.
Okay.
This could involve reframing your thinking about the habit if you're
Mhm.
trying to quit smoking.
Yeah.
Instead of focusing on the pleasure you're giving up, you might remind yourself of the negative health consequences, like the increased risk of lung cancer or heart disease.
So it's about shifting your perspective to make that craving less appealing.
Yeah.
I like that. What about the third law response?
To break a bad habit, you want to make the response difficult.
Okay.
Think about those late-night online shopping sprees.
Oh, yeah.
One way to make that habit harder is to remove your credit card information from your online accounts.
Ooh, sneaky.
That way, even if you're tempted to buy something, you'll have to go through the extra step of finding your credit card, which might be enough to break the impulse.
That's a clever strategy. It's about introducing friction to make the undesired behavior less convenient. And finally, what about the fourth law, reward?
To break a bad habit, you want to make the reward unsatisfying.
Okay.
One way to do this is through accountability.
Right.
Remember how we talked about using technology to create a support system?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can also use it to hold yourself accountable for your actions.
Okay.
There are apps that allow you to set consequences for yourself if you slip up on your goals, like donating money to a cause you don't support.
Ouch. It'd definitely make me think twice.
Right.
It's about increasing the cost of engaging in that bad habit.
Exactly.
I'm really starting to see how this inversion of the 4 laws can be a powerful tool for breaking those unwanted patterns. But I have to ask, does Clear offer any advice for those times when you do slip up? Because let's be honest, we're all human, and those slip-ups are bound to happen.
He does, and his advice is incredibly reassuring.
Okay, good.
He emphasizes that setbacks are a normal part of the process.
Okay.
It's not about being perfect. It's about getting back on track as quickly as possible. He even has this great saying, never miss twice.
I love that it takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I might mess up sometimes, but the important thing is to not let one slip up turn into a full-blown relapse.
Exactly.
I like that.
It's about recognizing that you have the power to choose your response to those inevitable setbacks.
Yeah.
You can either let them derail your progress or use them as an opportunity to learn and grow.
This has been such an insightful deep dive into atomic habits.
Sure.
I feel like we've covered so much ground, from the power of tiny changes to the science of habit formation to the role of technology and even the importance of self-compassion. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap things up?
Just this Atomic Habits is more than just a self-help book.
Okay.
It's a guide to understanding the fundamental principles of human behavior.
Oh.
And those principles can be applied to any area of your life, from your personal goals to your professional ambitions to your relationships.
Right.
It's about recognizing that even the smallest actions, when repeated consistently, can create extraordinary results.
And to our listener, remember that you have the power to shape your habits, and ultimately your life starts small. Stay consistent and embrace the journey of becoming the best version of yourself. Until next time.
Great advice.
All right, we'll see you next time.
It sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.